live recording this right now. It is February 2nd, Monday, sometime in the morning right now. KarterKast College Basketball Show. And with me today, it's the man, the myth, the legend, Shoot the Rock, Derek. Great follow on social medias at Shoot the Rock TV. Make sure to go follow and everything. Man, I'm happy to have you on the show, man.
Carter, I'm super thrilled to be here. I don't know if there's a bigger supporter of mine online than you. And I mean, like I said, I love your show. It's just said you in the opening here, it's going to be tough to follow up J-Man. I mean, he's a legend. I'm a Duke guy as well, so I love his stuff. And then you got me coming on, but I appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
Oh, man, J-Man's the best. If you guys didn't check out last episode, go check it out. A lot of the stuff is still good. It's not a super timely episode, so go check it out and everything. I know I'm seeing the Beat Carolina thing in the back.
Yes,
I didn't know you were a big Duke guy.
I try to keep it pretty low key, so that you can kind of see my shirt here. I'm the worst kind of person. I'm an Ohio State football, Duke basketball fan, but
Yankees
and the Yankees. Yes, I've been rocking with those teams since I was like 10. So I feel like it's more of a bandwagon to switch up now. So I just got to keep rocking with them.
So I'm assuming congrats to your Patriots on winning this upcoming Super Bowl.
Steelers fan with that. So there you go.
I love it. All right. Well, we got a ton to get to today. I want to start off here. Let's go from this past weekend in college basketball. There was a ton of decent games. I wouldn't say it was like the most electric slate ever, but you had Kansas, BYU, AJ versus Darren Peterson. That was great for like, I guess 50% of it because one player played in the first half and one player played in the second half essentially. But I want to start off here. I'll start with you. Most impressive win from this past weekend, in your opinion?
Maybe you can go off the page a little bit here. It was one that I talked about a little bit on my show, but maybe not the most notable one. I'm going with the UCF Knights, an 88-80 win over Texas Tech. Johnny Dawkins is doing a nice job with this Knights squad this year. It's a team that, in the Big 12 here, you got those top 4 to 6 teams that are really talked about a lot, but people aren't really talking about UCF a whole lot. They're now 17-4 on the year. Themis Folks had a huge one in this one, 21 points, 7 assists. Like, he's a really fun player to watch for UCF. And Texas Tech was a team that I'm really high on. I think they honestly, if you saw them in Indy, it wouldn't surprise me. So for UCF to beat a program like that, like, I think it's just a really impressive win for them. So yeah, I'm going to go with UCF as my most impressive win this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Texas Tech team is honestly a national title contender. And I was saying that even before, like, even when they're going through that rough stretch, getting blown out by Purdue and everything, when you have a point guard and a guy like Christian Anderson and then an elite guy like JT Toppin who can go get you 20 points at any time, and now they're getting their front court back a little bit, getting healthy and everything, this is a super impressive win for Johnny Dawkins and UCF. Like, the fact that he's had to go from the American to the Big 12 in this transition, and shout out UCF for actually sticking with him and believing in him and not just jumping to the next coach, because I don't think that transition can be overstated how tough that is, because it's tough when you look at teams like Houston has come in and dominated immediately, and Kelvin Sampson's such a great coach. And then you have a team like BYU where the transition was fairly smooth. I mean, they did better in the Big 12 than they did in the WCC in the transition year.
Yeah.
But, you had coaching and Mark Pope, and then now you have the influx of cash with Kevin Young and everything. So that makes things a lot easier. UCF, you're working with a budget of $3.5-4 million compared to, Texas Tech, BYU, and these other schools. They're working with $12 to $14 million. So the fact that they're actually competing in this league, I mean, they're right there in the top 4. They're going to be in contention for a double bye in this thing, and getting a big win against Texas Tech, because our next segment's going to be most concerning loss. And you could put Texas Tech in this category, but honestly, playing at UCF's a tough game. I don't feel any different about this Texas Tech team. I think this is just a matter of, hey, this is life in the Big 12. It's tough.
Exactly, 100%. Such like I mentioned, there, it's top 4 to 6 teams here. It's a really tough league. Like you're saying with Anderson and Toppin, like, they're one of the most dynamic duos here in the country. Like, they can put that team on their back. So yeah, I was kind of choosing which way to go with it. Most impressive, most disappointing, but I kind of wanted to highlight UCF a little bit more here, just since I feel like they haven't been talked about as much.
Especially from the national media landscape, but they've been playing a lot of good ball recently. I'll go with my most impressive one. I had a few written down, so I cheated. So we can. It gives us an excuse to dive into some of these. Number one, I'm going Kansas over BYU. I thought that was a massive, massive win for Kansas in so many respects. You have the number one player in the country and Tyron Stokes visiting there, which Tyron Stokes, different discussion and everything. But you have Stokes there. You have AJ versus Darren Peterson. You only had Peterson play for basically one half of the game, and you still come in and beat this BYU team. And a Kansas team that doesn't necessarily shoot the ball that well out from the perimeter, and you have an unbelievable showing, shooting 9 of 12 in the first half, if I remember correctly, from 3. That's such a huge win for this Kansas team. And if Peterson's healthy and everybody's healthy on this team going forward, I think they established themselves of, okay, I thought this Kansas team was, okay, we're probably looking at another round of 32 exit, especially if Darren Peterson isn't going to play. That still remains to be seen. That can be another discussion. But if he's playing, they're healthy. This Kansas team's look. I mean, I think they could be a shoo-in for the second weekend.
Yeah, they're playing really well lately. I've definitely been playing a lot better. I don't know. I don't want to put myself in any bad faith. I know you're a BYU guy here, but that honestly was going to be my disappointing result here of the weekend.
That was mine too.
A little bit more, yeah. Just how AJ played in the first half, got off to a slow start, and just, I mean, down 20 at halftime, like just really. It was one, I guess, like you're saying, a slower weekend. I think this was kind of the game of the weekend, and it didn't really live up to the hype in the first half. Granted, BYU makes it a close game in the second half. I thought maybe even at times they're going to pull it out. But like you're saying here, no Darren Peterson in the second half, which is just a whole, like you're saying, whole other discussion. Really, really just kind of frustrating. Something I feel like we haven't seen in a while. I get, we've had guys that sit out there trying to prep for the NBA draft, but like him doing this weird, like, is he playing? Is he not playing? Is really throwing me off. So good second half there from the Cougars when he wasn't playing. But yeah, I don't know. And just how BYU's kind of fair. Like they didn't look great at Texas Tech a couple weeks ago. Like against these they played Arizona tough. But other than that, like on the road against these top Big 12 teams, I feel like the Cougars haven't looked great.
They didn't even play Arizona tough for 39 minutes of that game. True. They just had one of the craziest comebacks with the help of officiating. I'm a BYU guy, but I'm going to still call it like I see it. BYU is the most concerning loss for me. We can get into that here in a second. Because I still want to get through the wins and everything. But I want to stay on the Kansas side of this thing with the Darren Peterson stuff, where Kansas fans, I do the BYU show and everything, and so Kansas fans are coming in our chat and commenting and DMing me and whatnot, saying like, oh, you don't understand the Peterson situation, like this is a new injury and whatnot. But it was an ankle injury from, I believe, the Colorado game or something. It all blends in. And then Self comes out and said he had quad cramps during this game, and it was because of lack of conditioning or something. Okay, first half cramps. You played one half of basketball. Yeah. You're supposed to be the number one pick in the draft. Like Paolo Banchero having cramps against Gonzaga when he's going all out for 30 minutes having to play, that's a little bit different. Even then, Paolo got crap for that, and they figured out that problem very quickly at Duke. Darren Peterson cramps. I'm calling bull crap. That's just no way. You figure out cramps. You drink some pickle juice. Get a massage gun. Get someone over there going at your quads or something. There's something too fishy here, and I said it on the BYU show, and I'll say it again. Darren Peterson is way too focused on being the number one pick in the draft, and I get it. That's the long-term play and everything, but he's way too focused on being the number one pick in the draft instead of winning at Kansas, and that is concerning to me going into the NBA draft. Do I think he's the best individual player between AJ and all these other guys? Yeah, his shot making, how effortless he is, and just how smooth he is, dude. It's unfreaking believable. He's got a jump shot like Curry, but he's got this quick twitch about him like Wiggins, but then he's smooth like a classic point guard too. It's incredible what he can do. But like he was doing this crap in high school too, where he'd be a healthy DNP and would just walk into a gym and say, I don't feel like playing today, and just not play. Like at some point, this is ridiculous from Darren Peterson.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely like kind of like a how bad you want it, and like you're saying here with the cramps, and whenever they cut to him and maybe TV missed it, it just didn't really seem like he was like trying hard to get back in that game, like working on it. It very much seemed like he put in his good 20 minutes in the first half, proved, hey, this is why I'm better than AJ, this is why I'm gonna be the number one pick in the draft, and then said, all right, guys, I'm good. Like I'm gonna sit out the rest of this game. You guys we're up by 20. You guys will be good without me.
Yeah, that's what it's 100% what it felt like, because you see his body language on the bench. And he walked over and said, I'm done. And that's it. It's like, I mean, yeah, you're up 20, great, and you guys got away with this one, but like, what's going to happen if they're in a round of 32 game, or they're in a round, let's say the first round, let's say they're a 4 or 5 seed, let's say they're a 5 seed playing against a 12 seed. What happens in the second half of a game? They're up 5 against like a Utah Valley, winner of the WAC. And he feels a little something coming on in his hamstring. Like, hey, I'm good, guys. Like,
exactly.
I'm sorry, but you think that's not going to continue at the NBA level? That's where I have the problem with it. I understand all the AJ criticism. We'll get into that in a second. Let's stay positive here. Another big win from this weekend. I don't believe in this team as really anything going forward as other than just a flat-out tournament team, but just for a confidence booster and for the fan base, Kentucky winning over Arkansas on the road against Calipari is just massive.
Yeah, that was one. It's another one. Like, I can't figure out this Kentucky team. Like, a couple weeks ago when they headed to Tennessee, I was like, no way, they went on the road. Same thing here. I was kind of like, no shot. And especially just how they looked against Vanderbilt during the week. I did not expect this, but then I guess it's just something about, playing your old coach, get fired up. Granted, this game at times kind of became a bit of a ref show, and I think that almost kind of played into Kentucky's favor, where then, Pope's sticking up for his guys, getting a tech as well. That kind of motivates the team. But yeah, just really solid one from Otega Owe in this one, 24 points. Like, played how he's really capable. I feel like that's kind of at points when Kentucky's been disappointing this year just because he has been playing super well. So when he can have games like this, I mean, shooting 9 of 12 in this one with 8 rebounds, like if he plays like this, he can take Kentucky, like you're saying, maybe, I don't think like a deep tournament run by any means, but like competing for the top of the SEC here, being one of those better SEC squads, winning a tournament game, maybe somehow if they get a right matchup squeaking out too. But yeah, this definitely was a really impressive one for the Wildcats here.
Yeah, and just it's funny watching Kentucky because yeah, you're right. Like you're like, oh, there's no shot they go into Arkansas win or no shot they go to Tennessee and everything. It's funny because yeah, I don't believe in this team. I think like hard ceiling on them being a Sweet 16 team, and even that feels like a stretch to me. It feels like their ceiling is round of 32 in my opinion. But it's funny with these coaches sometimes because Mark Pope is a fly up and down, shoot a bunch of threes type coach. That is what he wants to do. That he wants to shoot 35 threes a game. He's an analytical coach, but he recruited a bunch of athletes and a bunch of guys who can't shoot, and he didn't recruit a true point guard. And yeah, Jalen Lowe in and out of the lineup, done for the season and everything. But like Jalen Lowe isn't going to be the guy to help you put up 35 threes a game. He's a get down to the basket guy, and that's how all this entire team is. And it's funny because when you watch Kentucky games and they're bought in to the philosophy of we just got to get downhill, get in the paint, and just play, swarming defense with our athletes and our length and our size. That's the only time they actually look decent. Outside of that, when they try to do this finesse game of shooting threes and, you can see the defensive intensity isn't there, they look like one of the worst teams in Power 5 basketball. Like the difference is crazy. It's just these coaches don't adapt to their personnel fast enough. Like Mark Pope recruited a bunch of athletes when he needs shooters. And I don't know how it's taking them this long to catch up to this. Like Otega Owe, you watch this game when he has the mindset of I'm going downhill. I'm not settling for threes. I'm going downhill. He is one of the best players in the country when he does this.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's, they spend all that money, but that's the thing. You gotta either get the guys that fit your system or adjust your system to the guys. And yeah, at times Kentucky really hasn't done either, but then yeah, they have nights like this where they finally realize, like you're saying, get to the basket, try to score in the paint. So yeah, it was an impressive win for them. I don't know, I was maybe gonna go Arkansas with disappointment, just like losing that game to Kentucky. It's honestly at this point probably the Razorbacks' biggest rival, the one you want to win the most. So to lose that at home is a little disappointing for them. But yeah, nice win here for Kentucky.
My last impressive win, if you have more to add, go ahead. I'm going to go with Illinois over Nebraska. Yeah. I thought that was a big-time win for Illinois. And Keaton Wagler, I was like, okay, is this a cute story after getting 40-plus points? I know he's been good this year, averaging around 18 a game or so. I think he's just here, and he's arrived with these other freshmen, man. He's legit.
Yeah, he's probably going to be a top 10 pick, and going from like how under recruited he was to that, especially here in 2025, where there's, scouts video of pretty much every single run game in the country, is just insane to me. Yeah, another 28-point game for him. Like he's like the Illinois' go-to guy now. Like with Boswell out, like they haven't missed a beat. It's just been all Wagler. Where, you know, I thought it was going to be guys more like Andrei Stojakovic or David Mirkovic, who had fine games in this one, being like that go-to guy for the Illini. But really, it's just been all on the backs of Wagler, and he's just dominating, especially to go into Nebraska, a team that's already beat you this year in your place, be able to, you know, even that series with them. And then, you know, you throw in the win at Purdue last weekend too. Like this Illinois team, especially behind Wagler, if he can keep playing like this, they're another team I could see in Indianapolis.
Yeah, they're freaking good, man. And and this is I can tell you right now, Nebraska is not on the most concerning loss list. I just love this Nebraska team. And look, do I think they're a national title contender? No, I don't. There's a ceiling to them and everything. But the way they play team basketball. It's threes. Everybody's just zooming off the ball. No one is stagnant on this team. And I've been so bought into this Nebraska team. I'm rooting for them. I mean, I would be thrilled if I see them in Indianapolis. Like, they are going to be one of the coolest March Madness stories. They might not win the Big Ten. They might not do much in the tournament. I don't care, because they're just a cool story. Like, people trash on Miami of Ohio right now. It's like, oh, they haven't played anybody, and, you know, their Ken Pom stinks and all this stuff. I was like, I don't care. This is why college basketball is cool. This is why college football can suck to some degree, where it's like they trash on a 9-0 like Air Force team. It's like, just this is sweet. Like, yeah, are they going to eventually lose to a better team? Sure, that happens, but this is sweet. This is awesome right now. So shout out Nebraska. Do you have any other wins or things to get to or add to Nebraska?
Yeah, Nebraska is so fun. I mean, it's why I'm one of these people. It's like you cannot wait till March to watch college basketball, because yeah, sure, maybe Nebraska has a disappointing tournament, but that team has been so fun this year. Sadly for them, you know, Rink Mass didn't play last game, was still kind of battling stuff this game. I watched him at Bradley. Has always been a big fan of his. So especially, you know, once he gets back healthy and going, I think this Nebraska team with, you know, guys like Sanford, Hoiberg, and Jamarcus Lauren's been playing really well lately too. Like with the shooters around them, I think this Nebraska team should be poised for a couple tournament wins, something they've never done before. For me, the last one, I'm gonna stick in the Big Ten. I like Michigan, 83-71 win at their biggest rival, Sparty, on Friday night. Yaxel Lenenberg, 26 points, 12 rebounds, just absolute dominant game from him. Plus then you throw in 17 from Elliot Cadeau. I feel like he's been playing really well as of late. You know, as a Duke guy here, maybe not the biggest fan of his, but he's been playing a lot better than he did at Carolina. I've been impressed with him lately. 17.6 assists for him. And just to go into such a hostile place on Tom Izzo's birthday like that. I mean, the photo of Dusty May before the game is hilarious. It's one of my favorite pictures in college basketball for a long time. And this is a Michigan team that, you know, I had my doubts about a couple weeks ago, and still, who knows? There's still, you know, a month and a half here until a tournament. Maybe they still have a couple more inconsistent down to their competition games, but this week to win at home against Nebraska in the fashion they did, coming from behind, then just to dominate here against Michigan State, I've been really impressed with them this past week.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Just the defense they play as well. I worry about them sometimes on the offensive end, where it's like, hey, Yaxel Lindenberg, save us. Like, and I don't really trust Elliot Cadeau's jump shot, and obviously, you know, knowing the Duke Carolina and everything. I just feel like we're gonna get into a game in March where it is gonna rest on Elliot Cadeau for this Michigan team. And do I really trust him? Do I really trust him to make a big shot in a big moment? And he's prone to turn over the ball. I love him as like a pure point guard in a sense, but then at the same time, his decision making is mind blowing, and he looks for the foul sometimes a little too much and doesn't trust his jumper enough. But that Michigan over Michigan State win is massive. I've been kind of down on Michigan State. I know they've been winning games. I think this is just one of Tom Izzo's better coaching jobs, because I don't think this team is all that talented, to be honest. I just think they're winning games by just playing freaking hard and playing elite defense. But like Michigan State's another team where I don't believe they're a national title contender either.
No. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I like you're saying, he's done a great job with this team. I mean, it's really not the most talented guys. I mean, Cohen Carr has gone from like being pretty much just a dunker to like an actual like college basketball player this year. Plus then you throw in like Fears. Fears is kind of the one where if he can have like a huge game, maybe he can carry him. I mean, goes for 31 in this one, takes 20 shots, they still lose. So we'll just kind of see, yeah, like you're saying. And then like they barely beat Rutgers. Granted, maybe that was a little bit of a look ahead earlier in the week. So yeah, I agree with you. I think they're a contender here in the Big Ten, but for like the national championship stuff like that, I don't think so with Sparty. I think it's just like you're saying, Tom Izzo doing a really great job, which then who knows, maybe he does seem to find a way to squeak out wins in March. But yeah, I agree with you. I think maybe, 2 wins is probably their ceiling.
The problem with Michigan State with Tom Izzo is like, yeah, they squeak out wins or anything like that. They're going to be favored in their first round game, so they're going to be like what, a 3 seed when it's all said and done in March. That's going to be I'm going to be staring at some team out of like the freaking I don't know who. Let's say it's the WAC. I'm staring at someone out of the Big Sky, just like, man, they might just upset Michigan State. Like their lack of perimeter shooting and explosiveness on their offense is going to be the reason why they lose in March, and they're going to be a sexy upset pick in my opinion. Everyone who jumps in right after the Super Bowl to college basketball is going to be like, oh, Michigan State, of course they're going to put on their bracket. Like you can't bet it. It's January, February Izzo, and not necessarily. I don't think so this year at least, but
I agree with that.
Anyhow, let's go on to concerning losses. You mentioned BYU, Kansas. I had that one written down as well. This BYU team, like you look at their top 4 games they've played, it's Texas Tech, Arizona, Kansas, and UConn, and they failed at every single test. And it's not just that they failed. The box score lies in all of these games. What you can say what the box score says it is and what it was at the end of the game, but if you watch the majority of the game, BYU has been getting punched in the mouth by a lot of these teams. Texas Tech here and there, that game kind of got out of hand in the last 4 minutes of it. But the other 3, Arizona, they were up 20. Kansas was up 20 plus. UConn was up 20 plus. Look, great teams don't get down by 20 plus in multiple games like that. What are your thoughts on BYU?
It's like you're saying, it's just slow starts like that are going to be very hard to overcome in March. I mean, whether it's against a top team or I'm like we're saying here, like, against a Big Sky team in the first round, like those teams obviously, they're going to have the talent advantage, with AJ, with, I got to shout out, Richie Saunders had a really good game against Kansas here. Like he was their best player. Like that's kind of the crazy thing here is, in that game between, potentially the top 2 picks in the draft, you could argue that Richie Saunders was the most impressive performance, but yeah, it's just like you're saying, slow starts where I think that's just going to be hard for them to overcome. It's something they got to get figured out, especially here. They still got a couple tough Big 12 games left. And that's really, I guess, where I'm going to make my final decision on BYU. I mean, you obviously watch them a lot closer than I do. But yeah, if it kind of continues to be the same story of slow start down by 20, maybe coming back and like you're saying, making the box score look like it was closer than it was, I'm probably not going to have a lot of faith in them come tournament time.
I said it on the church ball after the Kansas game, but when you watch this BYU offense, it's so disappointing because you see the talent on this roster and see how good it could be. Like if they played a style like Nebraska, how special this offense would be. But they play like any old mediocre NBA team. That's their style, and to be honest, that's what the Phoenix Suns style was when Kevin Young was there. Like when you watch this BYU offense, it looks the exact same as watching a Tuesday night League Pass game against Wizards Pelicans, where it's like, okay, high ball screen, all right, clear out. I just over obsessed about spacing, but in reality, you're only playing a 2-man game. If they collapse, then kick out. Otherwise, just let your best player go to work, which it doesn't. It can work a little bit more in the NBA. I'll tell you what, it don't work in college. One-on-one ball does not work in college. Isolation, heavy basketball does not work. That is why those Coach K Duke teams failed time and time again, because you watch like the 2017 Duke team with like Kennard and Tatum, where it's like, okay, we're going to go to a Tatum ISO set here. It's like that's not how this works. Like the reason why the 22 Duke team with Paolo and those guys found their stride is because they were moving the ball. They were zipping it more. Paolo was becoming a great passer. Jeremy Roach was moving it. When Duke was at their worst that season, it was when it looked like the Orlando Magic of, all right, 7 seconds left on the shot clock, kick to Paolo and let him try to bail us out here. That's what BYU looks like, man. And if that doesn't change, there's no way you can believe in this team come March.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. It's like you're saying, you just got to get guys like Richie Saunders, get Rob Wright, get those guys more involved. Can't just be all AJ. And I don't know if they can't figure that out, then yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, that was a bad loss at Kansas. They got a couple must wins this week though, but everyone knows I'll be doing stuff on church ball, so we don't have to dive too much more into BYU. Concerning losses, I had Texas Tech written down as a question mark, but I'm really not that concerned. I think that was just playing on the road, UCF, tough Big 12 game. Doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
This is probably this might be worse than BYU. Alabama against Florida.
Yeah.
Alabama just got the doors blown off. I think we just see what I think we fully know what this Alabama team is. I don't think there's a higher gear for them to hit. You look at their schedule this year. They beat Illinois in Chicago. Great win. I'll give you that. That's before Illinois found their stride and everything. They beat St. John's. We kind of know what St. John's is at this point. They lose to Purdue. They lose to Gonzaga. They lose to Arizona. They lose to Vandy. Lose to Texas. Lose to Tennessee. Lose to Florida on the road. Those are their other biggest tests this season. I have no faith in this Alabama team. I never really have that much faith because eventually you just have to play defense in March, and shooting that many threes, you're just not going to win. I know they got to the Final Four, and that UConn team just destroyed them in that game. I think there's another hard ceiling on this Alabama team, and they're another upset candidate where it's like they're going to be such a sexy pick in March, though. Like you're doing your upsets, like Alabama falls down to like a 6 seed through SEC play. You're like, man, I think I'm throwing Alabama in my Elite Eight just based off the shooting. But then you realize they got to play defense at some point.
Yeah, it's very streaky where, yeah, if the shooting's going, they can, heat up, win some games. But if they're not, then they're going to struggle. And like you're saying, day like this, they play no defense against a Florida team that's very good offensively. You're going to get killed like they did. I mean, I love Coach Todd Golden here calling his shot. Doesn't matter if they signed Charles Bediako. We're going to beat him anyway. And to beat him by 23, just absolute dominate them. With, Condon and Haw having 20+, like having big games. And then Bediako only was 6, getting chanted G League dropout at him. There's nothing more poetic.
That's an elite chirp because we have some terrible chants in college basketball. The two worst are the worst chant of all time in American sports, especially college basketball does it, is "you can't do that." That's the worst chant of them all. Like, what do we do? You can't do that. That's so bad. Overrated is also a terrible one because then it makes you even look bad. The Florida fans chanting G League dropout, that's such an elite chirp. Shout out the Swamp. Shout out Florida fans. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, next time BYU's playing on the road, I think their student section is going to be chanting the same thing at Abdullah Ahmed, who also played for the Westchester Knicks and came down. But as a BYU fan, I can be man enough to admit it. As someone who's a college basketball purist and loves college basketball, it does make me smile a little bit seeing these G League guys not do well.
100%. I mean, you throw in, I know this was kind of a talking point we had potentially on the rundown, like throw in James Najee, like he's done, I know he's not a G League guy, but he's done absolutely nothing. And the people that are trying to like validate, like, oh, I don't know why people are getting so mad, like he's going to ruin college basketball. It's still like you're saying, it's the purest. It's the point of it. It's a pro player, a guy who was traded in the NBA, coming back and playing college basketball. Like he is not a collegiate player anymore. So yeah, seeing these guys struggle, I have really enjoyed as well. I'm in the same boat as you, where it's like you missed your shot. Like I know someone was joking, I forget what Barstool show about, like, oh, this is the American dream, you going back to school, like getting your degree. But it's like, yeah, no, that's completely different for athletes. Like it's, so I'm enjoying seeing them struggle. And it's just hard. Like you throw in a guy to a team mid-season, like just to get him to gel and connect with everyone, like figure out how they're playing. At least, with Bediako, he's been in that Alabama system, but like these guys that are coming from the G League or coming from overseas, like they haven't played college basketball before. It's a different game. And you can see for them at times that it's been difficult to adjust. So I'm definitely very much enjoying seeing them struggle, as maybe bad that sounds, preying on someone else's downfall like that. I know we're trying to keep the show positive, but yeah,
No, we can be negative. I don't care because these dudes were averaging 2 points a game in the G League, and now they're coming down expecting to dominate college basketball. It's like, hey, maybe because college basketball fans get dogged all the time, especially by the NBA crowd of, oh, the actual basketball sucks and all this stuff. It's like maybe the actual basketball doesn't suck. Maybe it's just the fact that these G Leaguers weren't that good. And there's a reason why they're like, hey, I need to get out of the G League and I'm going to go make a final payday. And I don't, like, once again, like you talk about these guys, I don't blame them. I'd be doing the same bull crap.
Yeah.
If I was 22 years old, I was playing in the G League making $55K a year, and I'm like, wait, I can go to a Power 5 school. I can go to Baylor and go make, $750K for playing half a season and maybe over $1 million the next season. It's like I'm doing that 10 times out of 10. I mean, that's life-changing money right there.
Yeah, 100%. Like, for the money, you don't blame them, but it's more
still bull crap.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily mad at the guys themselves. I place a little bit of the blame on the coaches for stooping that low, getting, that kind of desperate, but it's just like someone eventually needs to take a stand and be like, what are we doing here? Like, I know most of the stuff's just not holding up in court. I'm not the most well-versed on all that, but yeah, eventually, like, someone with common sense needs to come in the room and be like, this is not a college player.
Yeah, I just love, too, how it's like an Alabama judge being like, yeah, Betty Acco, you're good, man. You can play ball. And then you got, like, it just doesn't matter at this point. And it's so funny because it's like, how does this all work? Like, is it just any judge anywhere can just be like, yeah, dude, you can play. It's chill. Like, we need you on this team. Like, or is it just, like, is the NCAA just... Is it just like the NCAA versus some of these lawsuits? It's like the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals. And the NCAA is the Washington Generals just getting pounded by these lawsuits. Like, I feel like they haven't won a thing.
Sorry, I forgot they were testing our fire alarms today. Good thing we're not live.
Maybe we just leave this in here. This is hilarious. I was like, is there a train choo-chewing by? That just cracks me up. From this college basketball weekend, briefly, Iowa State pounding Jerome Tang and Kansas State. Jerome Tang, get ready to learn studio shows, buddy. You're gonna be working for the Field of 68 or ESPN here soon at this rate. Gonzaga over St. Mary's, big win for them. Duke has looked fantastic recently. Duke getting that big win over Virginia Tech. John Shire has this team humming right now. They are so good. They're playing the best ball in the country, in my opinion, right now, to be honest. Moving on, Cincinnati gets blown up by Houston. Wes Miller, once again, you might want to start learning studio shows or being Hubert Davis's assistant at North Carolina, because I think that ship has sailed. And Virginia avoids a scare at Boston College. Ole Miss gets up or loses to Vandy. Big win for Vandy. And then SMU Louisville. This is a game I wanted to get into for a second, where Louisville down 15-20 in this game at one point. And they were a 9.5-point favorite coming in. Things have been looking bleak for this Louisville team. And SMU, once again, just has a chance to just grab the NCAA tournament berth and just not even think twice. I still think they get in, but this would be a no-doubter, like, okay, quad one road win. This is going to be huge for your resume in March. And they just continue to blow it. It's like Steve Forbes is coaching Wake Forest and SMU at the same time, the way they're able to blow these games. It's unbelievable. And Louisville, you have Isaac McNeely, who kind of finally found himself in this game. Michael Brown able to actually come back from a very disappointing game against Duke and Cameron Indoor earlier this week. So shout out Louisville. I think it's a big win for them going into this week. We good on the fire alarm? We still going? Uh-oh.
We are still going. This might be the longest fire alarm I've ever heard. This is insane. Oh, okay. I think we're good now. I think we're good.
Good timing.
That went through the entire rundown by you. I'm sure you did great. I caught bits and pieces of it. That also was the loudest fire alarm ever. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that's hilarious. Moving past the fire alarm. Maybe you could set off the fire alarm for the SEC and Greg Sankey, because do you think anybody in this conference is a national title contender?
No. I think if you're going to argue anyone, it probably is Florida, just because of, they're obviously defending champions. They still have guys from that team last year, but for me, their guard play is just kind of too inconsistent, where that, Elijah Martin and Walter Clayton were, Walter Clayton was a Kemba candidate last year. Those guys carried that Florida team, where I'm just not getting the same level of consistency and just execution from Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee. Xavier Lee especially has been playing better lately, but I just don't know if he has what it takes to lead this team to a national title. And then the other team I would say before this weekend, maybe Arkansas, just because of their guards with Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. But even them, like you're seeing here, they're losing at home to Kentucky. They've lost to other top teams. I'm really not a huge believer in them. I would say those two are like the favorites to win the SEC, but I don't think they're national title championship level teams.
I don't think anybody is either. Like I just trashed on Alabama for 10 minutes. And then you have Florida, where I agree. I think the guard play is just too inconsistent. We've seen that all season long with Lee and Boogie Flan. And it also pisses me off because then you have a guy like Denzel Aberdeen, who I loved last season coming off the bench for Florida. I thought he'd be great to replace Walter Clayton and those guys and fill into that guard role. And in Todd Golden's system, I think he fits much better than he does in Mark Pope's, obviously. And it just sucks that he chased the money and chased the bag to go play for Kentucky when I think he'd be having a very successful season at Florida right now. And like Kentucky, no shot. Auburn, Stephen Pearl, like, congrats, you got the job. Congrats, you got the contract, but your work's cut out for you now, man. I mean, you had Todd Pettiford. You had the ticket. Todd Pettiford, I'd be shocked if he's an Auburn Tiger after this season. Mm-hmm. And then Vandy's a fun story. Ken Palm darlings, analytic darlings. Like every year we have this one team where when the net rankings come out, you're like, they're effing top 10 in the net? Like, are you kidding me? Like, what? They're just gaming the net? And we're seeing Vandy come back down to life a little bit. They're decent. Like, I just feel like we have a bunch of tournament teams, and not one of these teams I couldn't feel confident about any of them making the Final Four, let alone like Elite Eight or anything, or let alone the national title. Like, you got Buckyball and A&M. Great story.
Say, yeah.
Like,
they're leading the conference, and no one even kind of talks about them.
Like, if they ended up in a 6-11 game in the first round of the NCAA tournament, like, they're going to be another popular upset pick. Mm-hmm. So I don't think any of these teams are even close to a national title contender in the SEC, and it's crazy because this was without question the best league in college basketball last season.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, the fall off here a little bit, like you're saying though, it's, you know, guys transfer, they're chasing the money now rather than kind of sticking with what they have. For me, like I think this year's SEC is the Big 12. Like I've talked about a lot this episode. You know, all those top teams, like any of Arizona, Houston, even Texas Tech, maybe Iowa State, like winning the national championship would not surprise me.
I'll throw BYU in there just in case. Just in case they turn it around.
They have like you're saying, if they turn it around.
We saw the turnaround last year. We saw them rattle off like 8 straight in February and somehow go on a miracle run. But I don't know if that's in this team. I don't know if they have that same dog in them. But yeah, like any of those 4 teams, like they're all national title level good. The ACC is interesting because it's like I didn't even think coming into this year, I didn't think Duke would be a true national title contender. I was like, I had questions about Caleb Foster and Caden Boozer, the guard play, and I still do because I feel like that's going to be their downfall if they do lose in the tournament. But just Shire has them playing such good team basketball, and they play so hard on the defensive end now too. They figured out that part of it. Their bigs are such good passers and everything where, you know, the point guards don't have to be as decisive and make those kind of plays because the bigs are just doing it. A lot of high-low from Duke, but they're the only national title in my national title contender in my mind from the ACC.
100%. That's the thing that's kind of concerning a little bit with me with Duke is like the ACC I thought was going to be a lot more competitive this year is really kind of just turning into last year again. I guess we'll see with Carolina this weekend, but like I thought Louisville could kind of give Duke a run for their money in the ACC before the season. They won at Louisville and then just beat them by 30 this past week. Like Clemson, Virginia are up there. They're fun, but yeah, I don't think by any means they're national title contending teams. I don't think they're teams that are anywhere near the talent level of Duke. NC State's like up there where they're almost kind of disappointing. I felt like people were really high on them before the season, especially with Darion Williams there, and where he's definitely been playing better lately. And I mean, they're 7-2 here in league play, but they're not like really a team that I think can contend for the ACC. It's really just kind of Duke in the field right now.
I talked about it with J-Man, though. I am buying stock on the North Carolina State Wolfpack.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm in. I was in before the season, and then NC State was throwing me in hype videos for them with Will Wade coming into the year. I was like, this is awesome. I'm in on the Wolfpack, but I actually do like the way they play. The no true point guard, and then the front court is going to be the problem with them. Like, if you're running Van Allen Lubin out there, like, I'm sorry, he's going to get destroyed by a better front court. But like you said, like, yeah, it's just a kind of a bunch of tournament teams. Like, Virginia Tech, you have a guy who's projected to be a late lottery dude coming into your team, and I mean, yeah, you lose on 3 buzzer beaters to start ACC play, but it's, they've been disappointing. Louisville, they have no front court. Carolina, I am buying stock in on. If you listen to last episode, J-Man and I think this Carolina team's turned a corner and found their true point guard, and I think they're going to be very, very good going forward, but not national title level. Like,
No.
I think they're just in that, like, them and Florida are in that same tier for me, where it's like, okay, they can be good. Like, I think they're top ceiling is a Final Four run if they get really, really hot, but outside of that, no. Like, Miami's put together a 17-5 record. And it's funny because you look at all these teams in the ACC, and a lot of these records look way better than they actually are. But go through their schedules, like Cal. I love Cal. Mark Madsen's my guy. I love him. Talked to him recently. Look, man, you played the 350th best schedule in the non-con. Like, your hardest game was what, like Utah or Ole Miss or something like that, like Kansas State. Like, I'm sorry, the ACC tried to game the net this year, and it's worked because they're going to get 7-ish teams into the tournament. But, like, Duke's the only one that I think has a real shot. Virginia's another team I would put in that Carolina tier as well.
Yeah.
Clemson, I don't believe in, but Brad Burnell should be in the running for ACC Coach of the Year because what he's done is unfreaking believable.
Yeah, 100%.
So, moving on, I was going to say we could go into other conferences and everything, but like the Big Ten's good, the Big 12's good, and
I think those are the two conferences for me. Like, if I had to pick where the winner national champion is going to come from, I'm saying either the Big 12 or maybe the Big 10 with Michigan, maybe the way Illinois is playing, maybe Illinois.
Yeah, I was going to say Illinois got to be in that conversation. They jumped Purdue recently because Purdue's defense is a massive problem, but like, and then. This is going to be just a bigger tournament question. We're not going to dive into teams or anything necessarily, but like when you look at a league like the A10, you have St. Louis, who's 21-1 on the season, 9-0 in conference play. George Mason, 8-1 in the A10, 20-2 in conference play. You have Miami, Ohio, who's undefeated to this point. If these teams lose like 2 more games, they're probably toast and they're getting killed off the bubble. I'm going to be honest, like, can we just put these teams in? Can we make it a 2-bid league A10? Like, I don't need a middling Ohio State team or Missouri or even Virginia Tech. I like Mike Young, but like, I don't need those teams in March. Give me these teams, please.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Just on my show last week, I had my one buddy who's like a big A10 fan on Twitter. I went to the A10 tournament with him last year, and yeah, we agree 100%. It's most likely probably just St. Louis. And then if a George Mason, or he liked like VCU as a sleeper in the A10 to win that tournament, they could get 2 teams in. But honestly, like if it's St. Louis, the A10 might only get 1 team, which stinks. Miami's a lot of fun. I'm kind of hoping here that I think Miami, if they go undefeated through the regular season and say we're to lose in the MAC title games like an Akron or a Kent State, which are 2 very good teams, that could happen. I think then we could see two MAC teams, but probably same thing. Like you just don't know. You don't feel good about it. And it's the same thing now with how just big these conferences are. Like you're saying, I don't need to see a team that's 500 or worse in league play in the conference tournament or in the NCAA tournament. Like eventually it's like, I'm not saying I think, St. Louis or Miami or any of these teams we'd put in over them could win the national title, but eventually it's like saturated. Like I don't want to see them anymore. Like have them play in the Crown if they want and call it a day. I don't need to see them in March.
Yeah, it's just like I just feel like we're seeing TCU and Jamie Dixon just in the tournament every year, and it's like, okay, they might win their 8-9 game, but like, and TCU's done enough in years past. I'm not TCU is an example here. I'm not dogging on TCU specifically. We're just like, you just see these teams like even Carolina getting in last year, even though that was a little bit more sketchy, where it's like Bubba Cunningham's like, hey, we're putting this team in, and it pissed me off because. Then everyone's like, they go out and smoke San Diego State in the first game. It's like, see, we shouldn't have put Carolina, or Carolina deserved to be in. They're better than these teams and whatnot. It's like, once again, this is not college football.
Yes.
I don't care who is better. It's who deserves to be in these tournaments. It's the dumbest thing we do in sports. Staying in the lane of March Madness. Last season, the whole storyline, and kind of the year before, it kind of bled into last season's tournament as well, was there's no Cinderellas anymore. There's no more upsets. It's all the elite teams, all these top dogs. NIL's ruined the Cinderellas, and we're never going to get another, crazy run ever again. And I just want to come on here and say this as of February 2nd. That's complete nonsense, and that was a one-off year thing, and I believe that last year because you look at the top teams in college basketball this year, they are nowhere near the top dogs of last year. Duke, Florida, Auburn, Houston. Those are sorry. Yeah, I got those right.
Yeah, those four.
Yeah, I got that right.
Those
teams were so far and above everybody else. It was insane. Those are 4 like all-time college basketball teams. Any of those 4 teams are playing in this year's NCAA, they would be minus odds to win the NCAA tournament at this point probably. And I think we're going to have I don't think there's any true like all-time team. I know Arizona's undefeated. I know Arizona fans are going to freak out when I say that. But I think this Arizona team is still pretty vulnerable. I think anybody can win this year. Like, I think we're going to see a ton of upsets and a ton of Cinderellas in this March Madness this season.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That was be my main talking point when I, saw it on the rundown here was those 4 teams were just like, they were the 4 best KenPom teams ever. Like, they were just so much better than everyone else. And it's like, even we're saying with the Carolina point, people are just so quick to like rush to like make these proclamations. They want to be, it's this first take culture now where they want to be first and not right, where they just see, like all the 1 seeds, like this got to be NIL. It's going to be ruined. We're literally talking here about St. Louis, Miami, Ohio. Like teams like that are very capable of going on runs here in March. Like you're saying, even with the Big 12. And I am a big believer that, a lot of these Big 12 teams are going to be competing for the national title, but how much of a gauntlet that league is, like those teams down the stretch here are going to beat each other up. Like Arizona is definitely going to lose a game. They're not going to finish the season undefeated, how tough that league is. And then it's just kind of how much do you get beat up? Like you saw this with the Big 10 forever, where the Big 10 really wouldn't have teams go deep in March just because of how tough that league is and how much the teams would beat each other up. So I think, we're going to see something like that this year with these top teams where some of them are going to lose. And just, I think a lot of these mid-majors, which those of us who have been watching the sport all year, like know how good they are. And I think that's where we're going to have the advantage in the bracket pools of like, hey, St. Louis, George Mason, if they get in, Miami, picking them to go on runs is going to be smart. Picking all chalk this year, it isn't gonna work. It bugged me last year that I'm the guy that watches all year, and then the people in my bracket pool that just pick chalk are the one that are kicking my butt and talking smack. So I don't think we're gonna see that this year. I think we're gonna have I don't know if we're ever gonna have a St. Peter's again. Maybe like that was insane, but I think we're definitely gonna have more upsets.
Yeah, I need to put in like a bracket. I need to make a full bracket manifesto before going into March Madness this next year. This is my number one thing going into like picking the bracket that I will not forget for the rest of my life. So what my main bracket that I do like a KarterKast bracket challenge or whatever, like a $5 buy-in or whatever. But then I do like a much bigger one, a bigger pot, bigger buy-in and everything. And the whole deal is it's an upset special bracket where your points are based on the seed line. So if an 11 seed wins, you get 11 points. If a 1 seed wins, you get 1 point, and it doubles each round as they go on. So if you pick an 11 seed to go to the Elite 8, that's you're probably going to win that bracket pool, or you're going to be way far ahead and everything. So I went all in with this Louisville team for some reason, and Louisville to the Final Four. And this is just a rule of thumb for everyone out there. If that team plays in the first couple games of March Madness on that Thursday, and you love them, and you think they're going to go on this crazy run, it's like the 8. If they're playing that, because the first game's usually the 8-9 game at noon on Thursday. Do not pick that team to ever go far in the NCAA tournament. It will never work out for you. You do not want one of your teams that's supposed to go on a deep run to be playing at noon on Thursday. It is a recipe for disaster. It is a nightmare. It's like picking Virginia when Furman beats them on that crazy shot or whatnot. Like, your bracket will be if you give the chance of your bracket being ruined by 2:00 Eastern on Thursday, the NCAA tournament, your bracket will be ruined. They will find a way to do it. I'm going to be all in on some random 8 seed this year, and they're going to be playing in that Thursday 8-9 game, and I'm going to go, well, I can't pick them to go far because I can't have my bracket being ruined at 2:00 Eastern in the once the tournament starts.
Yeah, 100%. This is not an 8-9. This is great. Back in the day, what I used to do for the bracket pool, like in middle school, was I would have my friends like print out their bracket and like
Yep.
fill it in pen, like give it to me at school, give me a couple bucks, whatever it was. My one buddy, he the one year forgot the tournament started on Thursday, gave it to me on Friday. He had Georgetown as his champion. They'd already lost to Florida Gulf Coast. So I was like, yep, I'll take your bracket. I'll take your money.
That's hilarious. I mean, what? I mean, that's when you knew it's like, oh man, this guy is truly honest.
Yeah, because I was like, should we take it like he's a day late, and then you see who his champion is, and you're like, yep, you'll be good.
Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, like I think Cinderellas are back this year. We're gonna get a classic March Madness. And look, the Final Four in the national title game were awesome last year. The year before stunk. That was maybe my least favorite tournament ever outside of NC State making that run. But last year it was cool seeing those top dogs, playing against each other once it got later on. But overall, like these last couple tournaments have been D- tournaments where it's like we got one buzzer beater with Maryland, and then we got like that cool Florida Colorado game a couple years ago. But like we've gotten a lot of lame. I'm more so talking about the first weekend rather.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it's been pretty lame the last couple years. We need a good tournament coming up this March.
Yeah, that would be huge. I mean, a couple years ago, I was big on Florida Atlantic when Dusty May was there. So when they went to the Final Four, like that was a fun one. But yeah, then like UConn just killing everyone for 2 years was kind of boring. And then like you're saying, last year the later games were outstanding. I mean, the Duke Houston game still haunts me to this day. But
yeah, I'll never forget that trying to find an Uber, walking around downtown San Antonio. I think I walked 3 miles after the game, getting in the Uber. The Uber driver didn't speak really good English, and he's just like, "Hey man, I'll play you guys some sad with two of my buddies, and hey, I'll play some sad music." And he just starts playing. Then he didn't even play sad music. He was playing like pump up Post Malone music, and so it was just awful. And just the I'm not trashing on a guy because you're Ubering. I'm not. Just the worst car ever too. It was like a Nissan Sentra that like someone had like punched. Like just that night, man. That's yeah. I so you're a Duke guy. I'll talk about this for a minute because why not? I in the moment I felt this way, and way later on now I still feel this way. That is the Houston loss is worse than Carolina.
For me, I think it was Carolina just because, like, Carolina, I was still, like, in school I obviously didn't go to Duke, but, like, was in school. So then, I'm watching there with a bunch of buddies. Like, they're, like, trolling me. They're giving me shit. They're giving me crap.
No. Say whatever you want.
Okay.
This isn't a BYU show, so say whatever you want.
So that was tough where, like, I don't do this often, but stayed out to the bars till, like, 4 a.m. that night. Like, I was down horrendous that night. The Houston one, like I, was just moving into this place. There was no fire alarms that were going crazy yet. So I just kind of sat here, it was like, I think my girlfriend even went to bed. So it was literally just like me at the end yelling, probably waking her up. So like, and I just kind of sat in silence afterwards, but they're both just brutal. And that's, I guess the other thing is I just can't, I don't know if I get how many more of these like Duke, like just heartbreaking losses I can take in the tournament. Even the NC State game where they just kind of fall apart here in the second half. Like, that one I turned off like 5 minutes left. That one I like could just tell. I was like, this is over. I can't keep watching this. It's Easter. I can't keep ruining my holiday here with my family. Let me turn this off.
You could tell with 10 minutes left in that one that NC State was winning that. Like you could see that a mile away. The Houston one, the worst part was because being in San Antonio, I was 8 minutes left. I never let myself think this way. And then with 8 minutes left, Duke's up like 11 or something. And like having an 11-point lead against Houston is like very, very big. And I just sat there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to see Duke play in the national title. Like I'm going to buy tickets. I'm going to go see Duke play in the national title. This is unbelievable. Like I can't believe this. We get to watch Cooper Flagg play another game, Con Knipple. And then you just see it slowly go down. And then once Cooper Flagg missed a shot, just stormed out of the arena. I mean, from the under 4 timeout to the end of the game, me and the 2 other people I went with, Duke fans, not one word was uttered until I think maybe we got back to until we got to we Ubered to our car outside of San Antonio and ended up at a Buc-ee's. And I don't think any of us said a word until we got to Buc-ee's.
Fair. I guess being in person and then just the fashion that they lost, I could 100% see for you how that one's worse.
I was at Duke, Carolina too, though. I was in New Orleans.
Oh, really? Okay.
And we are after the game. We're walking, same deal, just like, oh my gosh, stuck in New Orleans. This is awful. And we're just like, all right, let's just go drown ourselves in Shake Shack. We go up to Shake Shack, open the door. They closed 30 seconds earlier.
Oh my gosh.
And it just the most pure rage out of us. It just, yeah, man. I told myself, like, if I'm credentialed, I'll have to go to the game this year and everything for Duke. But if I'm not going to the Final Four, I'm not credentialed or anything, and BYU's not there, and BYU's playing that Saturday night, I'm going Monday. No matter what, I'm going Monday if they make it. I refuse to go to another Duke Final Four game. I can't unless I'm required to for work.
Gotcha. I don't blame you. That's crazy.
Let's wrap up here. We got some let's talk about some of the top games of the week. We got Kansas Texas Tech tonight, but by the time this will be out, people know the result of that one. Not a ton of like super great games during the week when you're looking here, like just but then you got Saturday. Saturday's going to be freaking awesome with Duke Carolina. That's all I'm looking for. Houston BYU is going to be a great nightcap. Illinois Michigan State's going to be awesome. But I want to get your quick thoughts on Duke Carolina. I'll be doing a more extensive preview later in the week with Connor, so get a Carolina perspective on this as well. As a Duke guy, how are you feeling going into this Carolina game at Chapel Hill?
If it was in Cameron, I'd be feeling outstanding. I'd be like, no shot. We lose this game, stuff like that. With it being at Chapel Hill, I have a tough time seeing us sweep them, especially if we play 3 times again this year, just because this Carolina team is a lot better. I mean, Caleb Wilson's a lot of fun to watch. Henry Vasar, when he gets going, is like also just been really, really good for them. I feel like they have kind of upped their defensive intensity lately. Something that earlier in ACC play, especially on that California trip for them, like they struggled with. It's just going to be kind of, can Boozer take over? And if, they're able to slow him down, can, guys like Evans, can Caden Boozer, can Caleb Foster like have big games, which is hit or miss with some of those guys this year. So I'm gonna say I think Duke wins, but like if Carolina pulled this one out, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm actually going Carolina in this game. Okay. Initial thoughts. I'll dive more into it later on, but I think the home court's a big deal in this one.
Yes.
Where Carolina, you look at their home road splits, they're such a better team at home this season. It's not even close. And I just think this Carolina team's too talented to not split this series. I think you're right. I think it's a win at Cameron for Duke and a win at Carolina for the Tar Heels. And it's just this Hubert Davis team, like Caleb Wilson, it's the first time in so long I feel like a Carolina player has truly felt like they care, and they're willing to dive on the floor for Carolina. They're willing to die on the court for Carolina. Where I can't say the same thing about the previous Hubert Davis teams.
Yeah.
And Caleb Wilson, man, I mean, this guy single-handedly is saving Hubert Davis's job, and good for him because he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch. I always joke that I do have a buddy that's a Carolina fan as well, where like me and a couple of us are like, oh yeah, Hubert's a great coach. Like we want him to stick around, almost kind of doing what Hurley did to Kim English this weekend kind of thing. But yeah, this year he actually does kind of has done a good job and has his team playing well.
Yeah, I mean, but we'll see what happens on Saturday, because I'm buying stock into Carolina after West Coast trip. You get the big game against Virginia. But this Duke team, man, they're so well coached. They're so tough. And this Carolina defense, I'm curious to see how the front court handles Duke's front court. That's where Duke can really win this game. And then you need one of those X factors, and it's like, can Isaiah Evans outplay Seth Trimble in this spot and everything? So that'll be fascinating. We'll have a bigger preview later on this week. Hey, man, anything else you want to get to before we wrap up?
No, I think we pretty much touched it all. I mean, if you're not tuned into college basketball this time of year, you're missing out. Like this honestly is my favorite time where, like I said, I'm the guy that, and you're the same way. Like we've been watching since November, and now we finally get all the football people on board, or they're like, asking what are the teams to watch, what are the players to watch. And this is where, I feel like that CBB ball knowledge really shows up, but here before the tournament.
Oh yeah, man. Right after the Super Bowl ends, you're going to get people in your life just being like, all right, so who do I need to watch? What do I need to get to? They all get caught up on college basketball and everything. And And we'll have you always think it's a benefit, be like going into bracket pools and everything in March. Like I'm gonna know more than everybody else, and then it's like your girlfriend or your wife just goes in and like, I like the colors of Florida. Yes. I like the blue and orange. And it's like, okay, well, great. I had Duke winning it all, or I had Auburn going all the way, and so it just doesn't matter. Come bracket pool time.
At time it can be a detriment because you overthink things. Then, like you're saying, these people are like, oh, I like the colors. Oh, I recognize Gonzaga's like fun name, and they pick them to go deep. So yeah.
Well, I love it, man. We'll appreciate you hopping on. We'll have to do this again. We'll have you back on throughout February and March and through March Madness and everything, doing a bunch of college basketball shows. In the meantime, make sure to follow at Shoot to Rock TV. You're going live on Twitch, all this stuff. Plug your stuff, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe a little outdated here, but Twitch was what I first started making content on. So I go live. If you're a really late night person, I've started doing like midnight Eastern on Tuesdays, like watching highlights of all the games that I kind of missed. And then Wednesdays, I live react to the 9 Eastern tips. So just kind of in there in the chat, talking about all the people. And then I recap all the games from the week afterwards. And then that stuff all gets posted on YouTube. I do picks videos, usually comes out Tuesdays and Fridays on YouTube, kind of talking about my leans for not necessarily betting wise, but just kind of who I like in those games. And then those get posted to TikTok, Twitter, pretty much. So yeah, like you're saying, Shoot to Rock, TTV, can follow me anywhere. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, man. Like I was kind of telling you before the show, like I found your show a year ago and you had G-Fed and Cole Adams on, who are my
shout out Cole. Cole's coming on the show here soon.
Oh, let's go. I was trying to get him on my show. I DM'd him. He said he'd come on, and then I haven't heard back from him since. So maybe I'll have to see if you can plug me for him. But yeah, so you had those two guys on, and I think since you're my number one listen to show afterwards. So those two, like I say, those two guys, and then J-Man last episode, they're like the soldiers that I'm like the clown in the meme, like me with my a couple hundred followers. So like I said, it's really, really grateful for this opportunity, and I'd love to come back on again.
Well, the couple hundred followers will change here soon, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We're going to get – all the numbers are going up for the KarterKast and Shoot the Rock and everything. So that's what I love to see. But, hey, man, this won't be the last time you'll be on. So can't wait to have you back on. Make sure to follow at KarterKast and everything, at Shoot the Rock, TTTV on all socials and everything. And that'll be in the episode description and all that. So download SeatGeek, use code KarterKast, $20 off your first purchase, $50 minimum purchase required. That's code KarterKast, KarterKast at SeatGeek.com, or download the SeatGeek app today. Create an account, use code KarterKast for $20 off your first purchase. At KarterBA, at KarterKast on everything. Make sure to subscribe, follow. We'll have a Duke Carolina preview out later this week and some other college basketball stuff as well. We're going to get some interviews on here, get some interviews going here soon with some coaches and former players and whatnot as well. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.